Ayubowan, Vanakkam. I'm Vayoni Dimel. This is Boston Lanka News, bringing you news, views and entertainment from Boston and USA. Sri Lanka will exceed $1 billion in foreign investment in 2011, says Dr. Sarath Amunigama. Buddha Jayanthi celebrations in New York from May 16th to May 21st. Healthy dialogue in Syracuse, New York between Sri Lankan Government and the Tamils of America. Step in the right direction. Sri Lankan Buddhist monk is among the special guests invited for the royal wedding. Foreign direct investment in Sri Lanka is expected to top $1 billion in 2011, according to Sri Lanka's central bank. The US is a key trading partner for Sri Lanka, which shipped goods worth $1.74 billion to America in 2010. Dr. Sarath Amunigama, Sri Lanka's Senior Minister of International Monetary Cooperation, met with a group of U.S. business leaders in Washington, D.C. last week, hosted by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce in collaboration with the Sri Lankan Embassy to encourage U.S. investors to invest in Sri Lanka. Dr. Amunigama was in Washington, D.C. to attend a series of annual meetings at the World Bank and International Monetary Fund headquarters. Boston Lanka spoke to Dr. Amunigama. Dr. Amunigama, for an American investor who would like to invest in the South Asia, why do you think Sri Lanka should be an attractive place for investment when there are so many other countries in the region that would also welcome American investors?
Well, the basic reason is our strategic position in the globe. We are now emerging as a hub in South Asia. Just across is this huge emerging market of India. And Sri Lanka has many trade agreements. We have a free trade agreement with India. We have a free trade agreement with Pakistan. We have other trade arrangements as SAARC countries. So Sri Lanka is a very attractive destination if you look at the emerging markets of South Asia. Secondly, Sri Lanka, in addition to its strategic position, has a relatively young population, well-educated population, good workforce. So it is an ideal position where we can join the supply chain for the emerging manufacturing markets in India and the other SAARC countries. The other thing also is that when it comes to new technology, Sri Lanka is well positioned. I have been having many discussions with likely investors in Sri Lanka. Some of them are actually already there. And I think they are very positive and optimistic about Sri Lanka.
What would be your message, Dr. Amunigama, for Sri Lankan expatriates who would like to invest in Sri Lanka and begin new business enterprises in Sri Lanka? Many have reservations due to government bureaucracy and political interference. Do you think it's a new environment now?
That's a very good question. As you know, Sri Lanka is now one of the fastest growing economies in the world. Somebody might think that I'm exaggerating, but if you look at, for example, the IMF studies, if you look at the rating agencies, if you look at all the trust funds and the stock exchange in Sri Lanka, we are a growth center. We have had 8% growth last year. This year, we think we'll go beyond that to maybe even 9%. Which are sort of historical highs as far as economic growth is concerned. So Sri Lanka is on an upward trajectory. I think many of our expatriates they could come through our stock exchange. I think that is the simplest because then they can get into, they can purchase a part of our blue chip companies which are expanding. And I think just like, say, Indian investors who are now looking at our stock exchange, I think it's every reason why our expatriates who know Sri Lanka well should really come into Sri Lanka, particularly through the stock exchange, I would think. And also there is a possibility of, joint ventures with Sri Lankan companies. The government is encouraging the private sector. We are having a lot of hopes in the private sector. So both through the stock exchange and through joint ventures, I think there are a lot of opportunities for expatriates to invest in Sri Lanka.
Could you please talk about the mechanisms you have put in place for checks and balances for all the foreign funding the government is getting for development projects? The reason for this question is that there is a widespread belief that when we get a foreign funding, some percentage goes to the politicians and government officials, and then there is corruption, even at the lower levels.
Well, I must say that there are different types of foreign assistance. One, for example, the multilateral agencies, the World Bank, the Asian Development Bank, IMF. Now, they have very, very strict procedures when it comes to the disbursement of funds. I mean, people may think that it's very easy to get this money. That is not so. There's a lot of feasibility studies done. There are surveys. The money is disbursed only on completion of certain parts of the work. So, as far as multilateral agencies are concerned, there is strong surveillance. Then, when it comes to bilateral, we have a lot of projects from China, from India, from Iran, also from the US and the European Union. All those are based on feasibility studies. The banks have surveillance. So, I don't think it is quite right to say that money is not well used. Money is very well used. What has happened is that we have open bidding systems, you see. So, people who don't succeed, naturally when you have that, they make all sorts of complaints. I'm not saying that this applies to every case, but large number of this talk is because of unsuccessful bidders. So, I don't think anybody can say that Sri Lanka is exceptionally difficult. There's a lot of surveillance, and also we have a parliamentary process. We have a very critical opposition. We meet every 2 weeks, and question time, debates. The opposition is ever ready to face these issues because that is one of the strengths of a democratic setup, because everything comes under public scrutiny.
Thank you, Dr. Amunigama. That was Minister Dr. Sarath Amunigama. The 2600th anniversary of the enlightenment of Lord Buddha will be commemorated at the United Nations headquarters from May 16th to 21st. This event is being organized by the diplomatic missions of Sri Lanka, India, Nepal, Thailand, Burma, Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, Korea, Japan, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and the Philippines. Sri Lankan Buddhist temples in the United States, along with the officials of the Sri Lanka Mission to the United Nations, lead the organizational activities. Boston Lanka met with Major General Shavindra Silva, Deputy Ambassador to the United Nations, to find out more details about the event. Ambassador, we heard that you are planning this huge celebration of 2,600 years of Lord Buddha's enlightenment. Could you please share some of the details of the planning stages?
Yes, as you know that on 16th of May, it is the day that it falls on the 2,600 years of Buddha's enlightenment and Sri Sambuddha Jayanthi, as we call it. And we have organized various functions and Sri Lankan mission to the United Nations, along with the Queen's Buddhist Vihara, with the other temples, Buddhist temples around New York, and also the Sri Lankan community who are living here has taken the lead of organizing the Sambuddha Jayanthi celebrations here in New York. And this, I could say that this is the biggest show other than in Sri Lanka, that it is going to take place on the 16th to 21st of May. On the 16th of May, that we are going to have a Pindapata ceremony where we expect over 150 to 200 monks, Buddhist monks from various countries to go on Pindapatha from 38th Street here in front of Corinthian building up to 42nd Street. And this will be in the morning of 16th around 7 a.m. We are going to have, for the first time in history of I think UN, the Secretary General of United Nations has agreed to have a special session at United Nations on the 16th at 10 o'clock.
Ambassador, we also heard that there's another event is going to happen over the weekend. Could you please also share some of the details about that event?
The same thing. It's the same occasion, but we are going to have a parade. In Sinhala we call Perahara. I think this is, as I said, this is going to be the first time a Sri Lankan parade is going to take place in Manhattan in New York. It will be about a 2-kilometer long parade where Sri Lankan community along with the other 16 countries will be on parade of Lord Buddha.
Dr. Palitha Kohona, UN Ambassador of Sri Lanka, and Dr. K. Arulanandam from United States Tamil Political Action Council had a healthy debate at the Syracuse University in New York. Peace building in Sri Lanka was the topic. This event was publicized as a dialogue between the government of Sri Lanka and the Tamils of America. Dr. Kohona and Dr. Arulanandam shared their views on what happened in the past as well as what needs to be done in the future.
There are deep-seated suspicions, deep scars we have to overcome. And this will not be easy. It will not be done in a year or two. But I believe, as the Sri Lankan ambassador, that it is our responsibility as Sri Lankans, both Tamils, Sinhalese, and also Muslims and others, to work hard at it, to bring the communities back together. If we do not work at it, it will not happen automatically, and we will leave the field open to those who are insistent on shedding more blood and keeping the communities apart. I do not think personally that it will be good for the country or for anybody else.
Peace and reconciliation requires understanding empathically the multi-ethnic challenges. Terrorism was faced in the Tamil struggle, but that's not the cause of the Tamil struggle. And to say that the story that there was terrible LTTE and terrorists and the benevolent Sri Lankan government is not true from the Tamil point of view, from our perspective. The most important thing in reconciliation is truth-telling. We have to honestly confront our ugly past, and our past has been very, very ugly, as Ambassador Kohona himself alluded to it in some ways.
Because reconciliation doesn't happen by keeping on stirring up the wound and scratching on that pain. We will get a certain amount of, I'm sure, as individuals, get a certain amount of bravado by scratching on a wound, keeping up the rage. But at the end of the day, reconciliation is not going to happen through this process. We need to be, reconciliation requires both sides, and both sides must acknowledge that an effort has to be made to reconcile, not only one side. And if you keep on scratching the wound and maintaining the rage, I don't think at the end of the day we will have reconciliation. And all our efforts will be to no effect.
I fully agree that we must acknowledge the past and move forward. But from the Tamil point of view, if the past is not acknowledged, if there is no apology for 1983, we won't be able to move forward.
How many times is the government going to apologize for that? Chandrika Kumarasinghe did that.
Venerable Bogada Sila Vimalanayaka Thera, the director of the London Buddhist Vihara, is among the special guests invited for Friday's royal wedding between Prince William and Kate Middleton, according to the Buckingham Palace sources. Venerable Bogada Sila Vimalanayaka Thero hails from Malvatta chapter from the Siam Nikaya. He is the first Buddhist monk to be invited for a royal wedding in the United Kingdom. Boston Lanka spoke to Venerable Sila Vimala, who joins from London. Venerable Sila Vimala, In your view, what is the significance of this invitation that you have received from the Buckingham Palace?
Because I think they have considered the significance of this vihara. This is the oldest Buddhist vihara now. This was founded in 1926 by the Sri Lankan philanthropist Anagarika Dhammapala. So therefore, this is the oldest Buddhist vihara in the Europe. I think that is one reason. Also, I'm vice president of the Interfaith Network in UK. I think all these reasons have been considered by the committee to invite me. I think I have to represent the Buddhist community in UK. There are nearly 200,000 Buddhist people live in this country. So I have to represent all these Buddhist people, to represent the Buddhist community. So we are honored actually. It's a great privilege, I think so. So I'm actually excited to go there on 29th in this month, the Friday coming, to attend the ceremony.
Thank you, Venerable Sila Vimala. That was Venerable Sila Vimala Nayakathera from London Buddhist Vihara. That concludes our news edition. We meet you again with another news edition of News, Views and Entertainment from Boston and USA. Till then, goodbye.